Exit. Come say hello. Hey, kia ora. Helen Brown's here, coming live from Sun City in Arizona. Hope you're all having a super fantastic, sparkling day. Welcome to Before the Dirt Nap podcast number 1120. Actually, it doesn't sound right. It is right, 1122. For some reason, I thought it was 222. 3 twos. We're not there yet. Almost, but not. Okay, we're 100 away. It has actually been an incredible day. It has been full of a lot of fun, a lot of opportunities today. I have been completely open for opportunities, and they have come along. And so it's going to be an interesting time coming up. Let's just say that. I can't tell anybody what anything is, but it's going to be an interesting time. That's all I can say. So today, as part of living your best life now, we are looking at fun. Till daddy takes a deep road away. Sorry, like my Beach Boys. Oh, that's another one I can put on there. Hang on. Oh, now we're rolling again. That's not how you. That's that word. There it is. Okay. So I was trying to think. Okay, we're wanting to live our best life now. We're wanting to go. You're wanting to go traveling. You're wanting to do genealogy. You're wanting to do all sorts of wonderful adventures and everything else. But what do you do just during a regular week? Actually, if I do that, now I can see both. Okay. Sorry, completely distracted today. And like I said, it's been an incredible day. Yes, head's still spinning a little. I even had to go take a nap. It wasn't really a nap. I just sort of laid there while the brain just went. Yep, something like that. You do not want to be inside my head. There's that meme out, something about walking a day in somebody's shoes, and it says that's just boring. You wouldn't last a day in my head, and I'm like, I didn't even last a day in my head. So it's a scary place to be at times, but it comes up with a lot of good stuff, which I am appreciative of the creativity that can come out of my brain. I am so appreciative of. So today we're looking at having fun. Yes, you can be planning your trips. Yes, you can be planning adventures. Yes, you can be planning, all things and everything else, and actively going after living your best life now. But along the way, you have to remember to have some fun. There are times that we've got to, we're always talking about taking a break. So in your calendar, do you have scheduled in your calendar time for fun? I bet you don't. Very few people, when I talk to people about this, very few people actually have scheduled in their calendar, have time blocked out that just says fun. And what do you do when you do fun? Whatever you want, that is fun, as long as it is something that makes you feel good, gets you out of the norm, gets you off the computer, off the laptop, off the phone, gets you away from it, helps you unplug. Then it's fun things to do. And I was like thinking, so I was sitting here, and the reason I was on a little list, I'm going to make a list. I'm going to see how many things I can come up with, and I'm still adding to the list, believe it or not. Okay, so over on my list, and these just popped into my head. So I have no idea where some of the stuff comes from, because I'm looking at some of the stuff on the list going, I would never do that. Oh, hang on, there's another one I can put in there. Oh, did I put that one in? Hang on, I had another one earlier. Oh, yes, I did. Excellent, but I didn't put that one in. I gotta tell you guys, I was like putting this up, and I was so like, this is going to be so much fun. Okay, I gotta stop typing, or we'll never get out of here. Maybe I should have made the call for like 7. Taking Zeffy for a walk, let the brain rest for a little bit. Who knows? But anyway, so this is just how they popped into my head, and we're going to go down the list. Hula hoop. When was the last time? I can never get a hula hoop to stay up. I mean, I got pretty big hips. I've always had wide hips as a kid, although I wasn't overly large as a kid, but I did have wide hips. I had a very hourglass type figure when I was a kid. There is hair everywhere. What the heck have I been in? Sorry. Okay, but hula hoop. When was the last time you pulled a hula hoop? We actually have a hula hoop here in the RV because I'm trying to teach Zeffie to jump through it. Now, if it is this far off the ground, she will go through it because she can't go under it. If I lift up to a height where I want her to jump through it, she tries to go down low and get underneath it. So I'm having to think of ways that I can stop her from doing that and have her jump through the hoop. But for whatever reason, she'd rather go around it or under it than through it. But yes, we have a hula hoop, and there's also those exercise thingies that you can get. That I don't know if they work or not. I've never tried them. They look like they're fun. One was these really big beads that were like about this on this great big strand that did a loop, and you're supposed to do like the hula hoop action on those. And then there's also those other bits that connect together and go around your waist, and it's got a string with a weight thing on the end, and you're meant to hula hoop. I thought, if I can't operate a hula hoop, how the heck am I supposed to operate those? So they're off the table. So I was hula hoop, and I thought, well, the hula hoop, skipping ropes. You know, we used to jump rope. Maybe you could do that. Do the double dutch thing. Get that going. I've never tried double dutch. But the people that can do the double dutch, they mesmerize me when they're there, and those ropes are going like so fast, and their feet are going, and then they're flipping, they're doing somersaults and handstands and all this sort of stuff. I'm like, how the hell do they do with the? Yeah, hats off to them. They do a fantastic job. I love watching. Will not participate. Maybe I will one day. We'll see. Never say never. Hopscotch. I thought, hopscotch. When was the last time I even did hopscotch? And there's different varieties of hopscotch, but you do see videos out there now, kids doing hopscotch. I'm like, is it making a comeback? Oh, and that gives me another one to put on there. I'm going to put it on there right now. Yo-yos. Playing with a yo-yo. You can do all those tricks and things like walking the dog or something. They've got all these different tricks, and there was this guy I was watching the other day, and I'm like, and then he shows me that it was actually a yo-yo that he was throwing around. I'm like, yeah, I got no clue. so because he was doing all this stuff. Yeah, they do the up, the down, the round, and all that, but he ended up doing this whole design on his fingers with the yo-yo while it's still spinning. And I'm like, I'm making, remember, oh, there's the other one you can do, like the cat's cradle, where you have the string that goes around the fingers and you do the blah, 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 blah to make the different, very good finger exercise. Make the different shapes, like the cup of coffee and the teacup and all that, the cup and saucer and all that sort of stuff. So there's, the cat's cradle thing. If you don't know what it is, go Google it. Going for a picnic. I can do that. Going for a picnic. When we were living in Virginia, there's an awesome, in some place on the East Coast there's this awesome supermarket called Wegmans. Love that place. And what we would do every now and again is we'd say, let's go for a picnic. We had no food in the house for a picnic at the time. So we're like, we always knew if we're going to go for a picnic, we stop off at Wegmans. They have this whole area where the food is already pre-prepared. So you can go in there, you can get your meats and your cheese, you make up a charcuterie board there if you want to. You go down the different, they had like the cold stuff, a lot of cold stuffs and stuff. You could go there, put it into your bag and go off and have your picnic. If you didn't want to do that, even while you were shopping there, you could go purchase your meal. They had a seating area up top with a microwave so you could heat up the food, and you could sit up there and look down over everybody shopping, which was a really cool thing to do. And I actually had a couple of meetings up there where we just went up there, and like you do in like a Starbucks or a other coffee shop where you go and you just meet with people and network and that sort of stuff. And so you just go there up to Wegmans and you go grab something to eat and drink, and you go sit up in the seating area upstairs and look out over the whole thing while you have a meeting. It's a lot of, even that was fun to do. But I loved Wegmans. Wegmans is an incredible supermarket. And those people on the East Coast that post pictures of Wegmans. we're going to have words. Anyway, but you could go along and you get all your picnic food and go and have your picnic. And their whole deli pre-prepared area was just amazing. Then you go to a different area of Wegmans and they'd have a cheese bar. And there was literally 2 people standing in the middle of 4 refrigerated units. And in those refrigerated units was all cheeses from all different types of cheeses from all over the world. They also had, if you're into wine, they had a wine store there as well. And they had not connoisseur, shoot, begins with S, sommelier. Yes. There, who would be able to help you pick your wines and that sort of stuff if you wanted wine. But they just such an incredible restaurant and supermarket. Sometimes a night out was going to Wegmans, getting some food and going sitting upstairs and eating and watching the people shop. That was a night out for us. We would do that as a night out instead of going to a restaurant, which is another thing you can do. Go out for dinner, go out for lunch, go out for breakfast. Just go out for a meal. Go to a restaurant and they're off busy time, and that's usually when I go. So after your picnic, you could do frisbee. You go to a park and throw frisbees, throw a ball, kick a ball around, some sort of ball activity thing. Or even if you're doing frisbees, the frisbee golf thing is really cool. Frisbee golf. We tried that one time. Yeah, it took us hours just to get into one. I think we played three holes. I don't even know what they call 3 poles. And it took us like 2 hours to do that. So yeah, it's a very, very dedicated skill. And people were coming up and they had what looked like lunch coolers, and they'd open it up and there would be their different array of frisbees inside. And I'm like, oh, this is a serious sport. Mini golf. There's another one, mini golf. I didn't even have that one on the list. Oh, mini golf. Oh, that cracked me up. So Brad and I were sitting at home one time, not long after I'd moved to the States, and he was a big ESPN fan. Loved his sports. I love sports too, although I will admit I haven't watched any since he passed, except for the last Super Bowl game that was in 2018. And I didn't care who was playing. I just wanted a good game, because I didn't know if I would ever watch another game again, because American football, you guys, it just takes too long. It's a long game. But then, as Brad pointed out, cricket's longer. And I'm like, yeah, but cricket's fun. So we would have these debates on sports and that sort of stuff. So I was going out and playing a sport, gathering some friends together and playing touch football, gathering friends together and kicking a soccer ball around or something like that. There's different things you can do. Go out for a round of golf. But the mini golf, the putt story. So we're sitting there, and he happens to be just channel surfing. I'm sitting on the couch next to him reading, and all of a sudden he goes, "What?" And I look up and go, "What?" And he goes, "What's this?" And it was and I have to tell you, hats off to the commentators. They were dead serious. They're going, and here we are at the annual World Putt Championship. And I'm just cracking up laughing. And every time they said, it is the World Putt Championship, or Putt Championship of the world, and they'd always put putt in there, and it would just crack me up, because that would be something that was sort of like, really, putt, and I was like, okay, but you had to get a hole in one in order to score a point. So I was like, okay, so they're very definitely very serious putters. I get that, but it was just how serious they were about mini golf and putt. It was hilarious. But thinking of mini golf, you also got golfing as well. But then you also have, thinking of mini golf, you can also do things like they have the arcade games, the air hockey, the arcade. In fact, we were talking about arcade games the other day, and some of them are really complicated. I used to be the Space Invaders. The stick just went backwards and forwards like this, and I just had to press. Actually, no, it was this way, and I pressed the button while the stick moved backwards and forwards, and I was just hitting that fire button while I was moving the joystick backwards and forwards. Yeah, that was my game, and I was in the Air Force when I did that one. It was over in the canteen, and that. Tried learning pinball. Pinball was an interesting game, depending on which one you got. And some of them I did pretty well on, and some of them I was complete crap. But when you think of arcades and that sort of stuff, you're just thinking go-karting, when they have the carts there at the arcades and things. So going for a day at the arcades, that sort of stuff is another fun day out. There's restaurants now that have the arcade area attached to the restaurant area where you can go and play arcade games if you want to. You can sit and talk. They've got these beautiful areas. Some of them have really nice areas where you can go and sit outside and shaded areas and stuff, so you can get to enjoy the outdoors, and the arcade stuff's inside. So you got that. Speaking of outdoors, you got fishing. You can go trout fishing. You can go deep sea fishing. You can just go fishing off a pier or a wharf. Let's see what else. Fishing. I actually do love fishing. I love fishing, but the only way I will do it by myself is if I do not have a hook on the end of my line. I will just put a sinker on it. And you're going to go, what? I say, and the reason being is because if I go fishing to actually catch something, somebody has to be with me that can handle the fish until it's time to cook. And then I'm quite happy to cook the fish. But I don't like dealing with the fish on the hook. I don't do the scaling or the deboning or any of that, but I will quite happily cook the fish. So I just need somebody with me to do that bit in between. But yeah, fishing is another good one. Hiking. There's so many great hiking trails around the world. The thing I like about doing hiking trails in New Zealand is you only got to worry about where you put your feet. You just got to stay on the trail and worry about where the feet go. So you're not tripping on rocks, putting your foot in a hole, or tripping over a tree root. You don't have to worry about snakes, lions, tigers, bears, none of that. In New Zealand, you just have to watch where you put your feet to make sure you don't trip over something or put your foot in a hole, or something like that. So that's one thing I love about hiking in New Zealand. Over here, you've got like snakes and wild animals, and I'm sort of like, yeah, poisonous stuff. It's poisonous and vicious stuff. Yeah, no. Definitely not by myself. I was planning on it. I've got my tramping boots and everything, and I've got my little personal beacon, safety beacon. So when Steffi and I go out, and that we've got it with us, especially if we're going out of an area where there's going to be where nobody's going to be around, so you're away from civilization, like out in the boonies. But I'm just sort of like thinking, every time I think about doing that, I'm like, yeah, but then there's the snake, and then you see the sign that says there's rattlesnakes in the area, and I'm like, yeah, we ain't going walking. We went to the dog park on Sunday, and they had this big sign there by the entrances to the dog parks that said, be aware, there are rattlesnakes are in the area. And I'm like, great. So I was having to keep an extra close eye on Zeffie and making sure nothing was coming through the fences. But I think with all the people and everything around it, it was enough noise and vibration to keep the snakes away. So that's what I'm hoping. Where did I get up to? I was hiking, climbing. You know, some people like to go climbing just on their fingertips and their toe tips, and other people like to use ropes and all of that sort of abseiling and all that sort of stuff. Some people like to do it in on the inside where you've got the climbing walls and things. Skydiving. That was another one, skydiving. I personally do not see the attraction of jumping out of a perfectly good aeroplane with a piece of silk tied to my back. I know other people that do it and absolutely love it, and I'm happy for them. I love watching the videos of the skydiving. I don't know if I will, never say never. I don't know if I will ever do it. It's like with bungee jumping, which is, well, that's somewhere on the list here too, I think bungee jumping, well, if it does. With bungee jumping, I just don't see the point of jumping off a perfectly good bridge with a piece of elastic around your ankles, although I was thinking of doing it for my 50th birthday, which never we didn't get down to my 50th birthday did eventuate, but the trip to New Zealand did not, because there was only one place that I would even consider doing bungee jumping. Now with skydiving, I would definitely, and thank you, Kathy. Oh, Kathy's got a lot of comments in here. No, we never did double Dutch skipping when we were a kid. We were just a single skipping rope. Don't mention walking the dog. Zeffie's there. Yeah, she's up on her bed asleep. You go to Wegmans all the time. The Putt-Putt Championship of the World. It was a World Putt-Putt Championship is what Putt-Putt was. Dave and Buster's, yes, that's a good place. That's a good place to go for entertainment as well as food. Oh my God, snakes I'd move. Yeah, I know the feeling. I don't know why we have indoor skydiving right by my house. Yes, indoor skydiving. I would definitely do that. You can actually even do that on cruise ships now. There are some cruise ships that have the iFly on cruise ships. This, Royal Caribbean has iFly on some of their cruise ships, so you can actually go skydiving while cruising on a ship in the middle of the ocean. Like you can go ice skating on a cruise ship in the middle of an ocean. Imagine being in the Caribbean and you're ice skating. How cool is that? There you go. There's another one: ice skating, roller skating, rollerblading, skateboarding. Oops, I got messages. You'll have to wait. Axe throwing. Have you ever done axe throwing? First time I did axe throwing was at the Lumberjack Show in Ketchikan when I did my first cruise after Brad had passed. That was a lot of fun. I actually got it to stick on the one that counted. The practice ones bounce off. They all bounced off. But the one that counted, when we did the competition at the end, it stuck. And then for the youngest's 30th birthday, there was the three boys and myself who went to a place in San Diego, and we did axe throwing, and then went over to this really cool Korean barbecue place and had a really good dinner together. It was a really good afternoon out. Let's see, what else have I got on the list? Mountain biking. Yes, a lot of people like mountain biking. Just going for a regular bike ride. There's plenty of trails around that will challenge you if you want the challenge for mountain biking. There's plenty of trails around if you just want a nice, easy bike ride. Motorcycle ride. I love being on the back of a motorcycle. Camping. Yeah. And you can either do it glamping, RVing, cabin, tents. Canoeing is another good one. Canoeing, kayaking, whitewater rafting, boating, all those water sports with engines. Now you got that, where is it? I think it's in San Diego Harbor. They have this thing that floats, and then you put this like jetpack on, and it pushes the water up through this hose and stuff, and you can go flying around. And if you've ever seen the movie Thunderbolt with James Bond, and he does that thing with the jetpack thingy on his back, Thunderbolt doesn't sound right. Thunderball. Sorry, Thunderball. At the beginning, he's got the jetpack on the back, and he goes flying around the jetpack. It's kind of like that, but it's propelled by water. It's really cool. I have not tried it. I have seen it. It is really, really cool. Let's see. So you've got, what did I got myself like? Whitewater rafting, any of the water sports, water skiing, boating, floating on the lazy river in the inner tubes. There's also that as well. And water skiing, and what's the one where you get towed behind on a tubing? Yes, that'll do. Board games. Something as simple as board games, card games, board games. Darts. Love playing darts. When I was in the Air Force, at one of the places where I was stationed, we would play darts every coffee break, every lunch break. Would play darts, and we all had our own dart set. And I was actually down in New Zealand. Was it 2006? And my dad goes, "Oh, look what we found!" And it was my dart kit. So I had everything in there. I had all the fins, I had the bodies, I had the sharpeners, I had the wax, I had everything in there. I think I brought it back. Maybe I left it down there that trip because it was pretty weighty, depending on what you want and the brass that you use. It was, yeah. I haven't played darts in years though. I did have a dart. We did get my dartboard up when my parents came over after Brad passed and we got the garage cleared out. Dad did mount the dartboard for me and put a piece of tape down on the floor where I could stand to throw the darts. That was a lot of fun to go out there. And yes, I did have my dart set with me at that point. I'm just going for a drive, getting in the car and just going for a drive. It could be, especially getting in towards September, October, you've got colors that are starting to change in some of the northern states and things. So getting in the car and going on an autumn drive to see the colors changing. So just reading, sitting down, picking up a book and reading. Something as simple as that. A movie fest. Have your own movie fest. Make some popcorn and sit down and, do a trilogy. Let's see, we've done Back to the Future trilogies. We've done Lord of the Rings, done Hobbits, Star Wars. You've got to do those over several days since I only have the first 6 episodes. So I do the first 3 one day and the next 3 the following weekend. James Bond, I do that every November. And I'm still having to work myself up to watch that last one. But you could do movie fests on anything. You could choose a theme and you got to find 2 or 3 movies on that theme And so they don't have to be in a trilogy. You could turn around and say, okay, well, let's go through what movies we have and just pick ones out of the thing, and watch 3 movies. Write. Something as simple as writing a letter, writing a card, writing in a journal, just writing for the sake of writing, just something to do some creative writing. Going for a run or a walk. Antiquing. Now, this one is a very loose term because some people are very serious about their antiquing when they go antiquing. Other people call it antiquing when they go to flea markets or they go to secondhand stores, that sort of stuff as well. So it's always fun going and browsing through thrift stores and flea markets. I love doing that. Let's see what else is on the list here. Antiquing, bungee jumping. There we did have bungee jumping on there. Restoration projects. So when you find your purchases at the flea markets or whatnot, taking them home and restoring them, changing them, stripping the paint, the years of polish off them, painting them, turning them into something completely different, taking a gate and making it a headboard for a twin bed. There's all sorts of different things that you could do with those projects. It could even just be restoring the project back to its former glory, and using it in your house or turning around and selling it. So there could be that way too. Knitting, crocheting, crafts, scrapbooking, art journaling, off-roading, ATV vehicles. I was at one campground and the ATV vehicles, there were more ATV vehicles in the campground than there were golf carts, because the campground was right on the edge of a BLM, Bureau of Land Management land. And you could access that from the back of the campground, or you could go down the road and there's different access points down the road and that sort of thing too. I was actually in the dog park one night and they actually formed a search party to go out and find somebody who was lost in his ATV. They were worried about him because he did have some health challenges and everything, but they found him. He was safe. He did spend the night in hospital because they had to get rehydrated, because these days were, it was the beginning of, when was that? Actually, it was September of 2020. When we were, no, hang on. Was it last year? It was towards the beginning of summer, and the temperatures were already up, and they were concerned because nobody had seen this guy, didn't know where he was. So they called the police. And I'm in the dog park with Zephy and a few of the other dog owners, and people are coming over and asking the dog owners, have you seen so and so today? And I had no clue who they were talking about. And some of them offered to go get their ATVs to go out and look in pairs, with 2 ATVs going together with 2 people in each ATV. So you'd have one driving and one looking. They kind of had a rough idea of where he was. Thankfully, it took them a couple of hours from when the police first arrived to when they found him. He did spend the night in hospital because he was severely dehydrated, but he was like 78, 79 or something, and had some health challenges anyway. So they put him in hospital for overnight. But so be careful when you're out ATVing. His cell phone was out of service. So you take, and I don't have it here, it's up in my cupboard. You can get these little personal beacons that you register with the, which government agency? There's a government agency you register it with. And if you are out somewhere like that and by yourself and you have no cell phone service, this thing works off the satellites. And you just unwrap the antenna and put it up, and that activates it. And they've got, and you have it registered. They know who you are. They know what your cell phone numbers are, and they have a phone tree. So they will try your cell phone first. If they don't get an answer, they then go to the next person on the tree and that sort of thing. Very, very good for, like I said, if you're out of cell phone range. Great to have with you, especially if you're traveling by yourself. What do we get? Restoration projects, off-roading, concerts. When was the last time you went to a concert? I think the last concert I went to, I think it was a Phil Collins concert. God, that was years ago. That was like 20 years ago. Wow. Do an ice cream run or a burger run. And the ice cream run or a burger run is not just popping down to the local Dairy Queen or the local ice cream shop or wherever, or the local burger place. No, this is, when I'm talking run, you got to drive at least 2 hours to get to the ice cream or the burger. Minimum 2 hours. We would drive down to Wellington, get on the ferry. Ferry's a 3-hour ride. Take the ferry across the Cook Strait to Picton, which is where the ferry comes in. There's a little hole in the wall place that had amazing burgers. We'll go order our burgers, sit down at the waterfront, watch all the comings and goings there in the Picton Harbour, because they've got a beautiful harbour area there. Enjoy that. Then we'll go for a wander around the town and then get back on the ferry and go back home. So yeah, crazy things like that. Yeah, we did that. Oh, yeah, Brad had me do that one time. We ended up in Julian in California. We were in San Diego, and we'd just come from his oncology visit. And I said, oh, where we're going for lunch? And I'd already told him he's got to figure out where we're going for lunch. And because we'd already decided we're going for lunch. And so he got on his map and started giving me directions. He took me the most circuitous route you could possibly take to get to Julian because he didn't want me to figure out where we were going. Crazy guy. Miss him like crazy. Weekend getaway. Just go away for a weekend. Plan a trip and go. Book an Airbnb, book a cabin somewhere, just book something and go. Get out of town. Do a staycation. Do a staycation at home. Turn everything off. Make it look like you're out for the weekend or something. Let's see what else. Progressive dinner. Now, this is a fun one. We did this one time. Now, you can either do a progressive dinner by getting friends together and going to each other's houses for different courses, or to save all the cooks having to do things, you could do a progressive dinner around cafes and restaurants. So you'll start in one place, you have your appetizer there, you have a pre-dinner drink, the pre-dinner cocktails, and you still have your designated drivers always, or you hire a limo to take you wherever you got to go. So either hire a limo and have them do the driving for you, or have your designated drivers. But you'll start with your pre-dinner drinks, then you go off somewhere else and you'll have an appetizer at a bar or restaurant or a cafe. Then you'll go to another area where you will have your salad. You go to another place where you would have your main, and then have another place for dessert, and then end up somewhere for coffee. It's a lot of fun, and you can plan that out quite well. I remember in Christchurch when I was stationed at Wigram, the big thing, and I am not a drinker, so I did not get the thing of doing this at all. But in a square mile, there was like 40 pubs within a square mile, and you actually got a T-shirt if you completed the square mile. That's what you got, was a T-shirt. But there was like 40 pubs. You had to call into each one. You had to have a drink in every one, and the bartender had to sign off. And you actually got a piece of paper with all the pubs, the order you had to visit, and the bartender had to sign off each time you came in, each one that you went to. And when you had the vote, you took it back to wherever you had to take it back to, and you got a T-shirt to say that you did the square mile pub crawl. Yes, that was interesting. Having a barbecue. Something simple like having going to the playground, going to the park, going to the beach, the lake, a river, going swimming at a public pool, recreation center or something like that, or the beach or the lake or the river, build sandcastles, geocaching. My parents do geocaching every now and again. They say it's a lot of fun. I haven't gotten into it yet. Brad and I looked at it, but we never got our little device thingy. That was as close. We did go looking at the different devices, but we couldn't decide which one we wanted, and we never got very far because it wasn't long after that we found out he had cancer. That was the first go round. Boating, was mentioned that earlier. Skiing, water or snow, or grass. And now there's these special skis that you can do to go skiing down grassy slopes. I thought, that's interesting. I ain't trying it. Snowboarding, skating, either ice roller or rollerblades, skateboarding, visiting family and friends, cooking or baking. Some people, people have fun doing these different things. Some people will turn around and go, cooking and baking? Oh, I couldn't think of anything worse. That's fine. It's like, I don't get some of the stuff that we've mentioned, but people out there enjoy it. I'll suggest it. Dancing. And it could be that you go to a dance that's on, you go take dance lessons, you just dog sledding. Oh, that's a good one. Thanks for that, Kathy. Dog sledding. And you can also do dog mushing, which is the dry version of the snow. My brother-in-law and sister-in-law, with their dogs, used to go mushing with the dogs, and they had these little scooter things that had wheels on it, and they had these trails that the dogs would pull them through. So it was like dog sledding, but you were on a scooter that was on wheels. You get some bad accidents on that one, but they had a lot of fun with that, and they enjoyed it. So that was awesome that they could go and do something that they enjoyed together. It was awesome. And the dogs were beautiful dogs. They were Siberian Huskies. Dancing. So you could I dance in the RV. Zeffie looks at me half the time. Sometimes she'll come over and join me and I'll go, dance. And she'll put her front paws here for about 2 seconds and then she'll go back on the floor and that's her dance. She's done. She won't put her paws, for whatever reason, she will not put her front paws in my hands. And there's times that she'll be laying on the bed and I'll go down, lay down with her and I will get her paw and I will place it in my hand and just leave it there and just stroke it. And she'll pull it away. And some days she'll leave it there and other days she won't. But when it comes to getting her to come up and putting her paws in my hands, we're having to work on that one really, really hard. I don't know if her paws, if there was something with her paws that was done when she was being abused as a puppy or what, but back feet, I can touch those all day long. That's not a problem. Front paws, we have issues. Karaoke, going karaoke. There's different places you can do karaoke. They have karaoke nights, trivia nights. There's another one, trivia nights. And the last one I have on the list is genealogy. Go search your family tree. Find out the stories. Some people, I can't think of anything worse. And I'm sort of like, well, that's why I love it. For everything on this list, there are people who are sort of like, what? Are you kidding me? No, I'm not going to do that. That's fine. But there's also other stuff on the list that you're going to go, oh, yes, I'm into that. And so we're catering to everybody. So that is our list for today. Wow. It took a long time to get through that list. But anyway, so I hope you found some way to do some fun. But schedule it in your calendar. Go do, and just schedule fun time in your calendar. People are saying to me right now, they're saying, Twister, yeah, that came under board games. That's a vicious game, that Twister game. I am not a contortionist. I was a little more flexible when I was younger, but I wasn't that flexible for that game. But anyway, there's all sorts of fun things that you can do out there. There's activities that you enjoy doing. Put them in your calendar to go do them. When was the last time you got to do them? When was the last time you got to sit down and curl up with a book? One of my favorite things that I used to do in Virginia when we had snowstorms was I would actually take candles and put them in the fireplace, because we actually had a log burning fireplace, not a gas fireplace. And I would put the candles in the fireplace and light them. So that was our fire. And then just sit in front of it, snuggle up in a blanket, read, eat ice cream. My little happy place. So if you're thinking of a way if you're wanting to do something fun with a little bit of romance on it, and you have a fireplace, put candles in there and light the candles rather than lighting the fire, because they don't give out as much heat, especially in summertime. They don't give out as much heat as the gas would or the fire logs would. But it's really pretty, and you put different sized candles in there, and it's really, really pretty. And you can turn off the lights and just sit there together and have a movie playing, having music playing, or what, just listening to music is another good one. Have music on while you read. There's all sorts of different things that you can do. Have a romantic dinner for two. Have a romantic dinner for yourself. Clear the table, set the table, make yourself a beautiful meal, or order the meal in and have it at a beautiful table with the best china out and the wine glasses and the goblets and all of that. Set the table, order the meal in, put some music on that you enjoy, and have a romantic dinner with yourself if you're by yourself. If there's two of you, have a romantic dinner together. There's all sorts of fun things that you can do. The only thing that limits you is your imagination. Okay, and physical ability. I will put that one in there. Physical ability and your imagination. But there's ways that you can get around some of the physical ability things. So anyway, you could take a trip in your house. Turn each room into a different theme from a different country. That always reminds me of the beginning at It's a Wonderful Life, where just after he gets married, he goes home and the pictures, the travel posters up over the windows. And they've got the two guys standing outside serenading them. So that was kind of cool. I thought that was kind of nice. And she had a dinner on the table and the house is falling down. There's leaks everywhere, but they had a nice romantic evening. Anyway, don't let your imagination limit you. With physical disabilities, there are ways that you can get around some things. Some things totally get that you can't. There are things on this list that you may enjoy, that you may not enjoy. That's totally fine. Take what you like, leave the rest. Anyway, have a super fantastic sparkling evening, and we'll catch you guys back here tomorrow at 6 p.m. Pacific. Hei konera.